Your life is meant to be harder because you're worth more. Struggle is how we grow. And this is the whole system I'm going to take you through that leads you to manifestation. A lot of people want to understand how to manifest, but I want to show you the step before that will help your manifestation techniques and everything else you've learned happen at a much better rate. So the way it looks is this: struggle equals value. If you're struggling, then the value of everything there is higher. And the graph looks like this: the higher the difficulty, the higher the reward. The magic comes in these 3 A's, and I'm going to take you through them and how we can get to the higher difficulty technically, which is why you're struggling. That's the difficulty level you're at, and how to actually get the reward. But it comes through this emotional growth, which will give you more abundance because your manifestation will be that much better. So just that step before actually manifesting things and helping see this cleared up might help you manifest faster. For those of you who haven't been here before, my name's Mitch and I help make spirituality practical so that you can apply it to manifest your dreams. And if you don't want to miss something like that, making spirituality practical so you can apply it, make sure to hit the subscribe button and your notification bell so that you don't miss another upload. For those of you who have been here for a while, this is something really exciting, and I spoke about it a long time ago, but I'm bringing it back with this new fresh perspective in hopes that it can upgrade the way that you manifest and enjoy abundance in your life. We have this scale, which is the difficulty level. We often see so many people who we think don't deserve things get the raises, get the respect, the recognition. We'll see this sometimes in our partners. We see it in people all around us. People don't have to work as hard as us. And why is that? It's because we were chosen to do something of more value. And how do I even know that we were chosen? Because why would we perceive things in such a deep way if understanding them wouldn't be such a big improvement on our lives? When you don't have to work hard, the reward isn't great. Take a look at popular kids in school. They didn't have to do anything for the popularity, and we look at the reward. The recognition isn't there once you leave school. The recognition is in all of the people who are a bit odd and a bit weird. Those are the people that get ultimately respected and viewed differently later on in life, because the difficulty of that social understanding was way higher. It takes way longer. And once they actually nail it and get an understanding of it, they are far better at that situation than the people who didn't have to try for it at all. Hard work beats talent. I'm a musician. I've been a musician my whole life. I have a natural affliction towards it. And I didn't have to work hard to understand new instruments. I play about 20 music instruments. I can pick an instrument up and play it. And that's just because I understand music. But I look at the other artists who I worked with in Hollywood and in Los Angeles who don't necessarily have the natural born talent, who work so hard and you can actually see it, that their work is far better than mine. And it was a hard pill to swallow for me, which is actually the second A that I'll get into. And this will transform how you can implement this hard work, accept the difficulty level, and upgrade and get your reward, which is that it will always be better for you. If you don't have to work at something, the reward isn't as great. If you actually have to put in effort, the reward is so much better. So that's the first part about understanding this. Anything you've had to work for, the reward tastes sweeter, it's much better. Now, when we look at these 3 A's, these 3 A's will help you use this system far better. Once you get the emotional growth from these 3 A's, which is what it's all about, you will then get this natural abundance through manifesting things because your entire self changes and things will come to you a lot easier. The 3 A's are this: awareness, acceptance, and action. Awareness is literally just becoming aware of the way we handle things, the way we feel about things, our belief in things. And if we apply the same sense of awareness in our natural life to a spiritual concept, becoming aware of the reflection that we see in others is what will upgrade us to a higher level. So being aware of the problematic behavior because we see it in others and we identify with it, which we wouldn't if we didn't have an emotional response. If we can see it in them and go, wow, I actually do that in certain places. I can see, you become aware, I can see that it happens in places. If your partner keeps telling you you're an asshole when you drink, most people, when you make them aware of something, they will defend why certain behavior was that way. I know somebody who's been exceptionally spoiled their whole life. We were out together and I was sitting and speaking to this person and I said something to them. I wasn't even trying to make them aware. I was just speaking about the past and they absolutely denied it. They were so defensive. They actually looked at me and said, "You are speaking pure shit." An incapability to accept that within them, there isn't perfection. Strong people can accept that they are not perfect. Weak people cannot. This is why you're stronger. This is why your difficulty level is harder. Now, spiritually, what we can do is we can see and become aware of problems in ourselves, in things, people, and places around us. Use this world as a mirror to you about how you believe in things, how you act with things, everything. Just look around you. If you see somebody doing something that frustrates you, like for me, a sense of entitlement was really bad. And I didn't think that I was ever an entitled person. But what I realized is I can identify a sense of entitlement in everyone around me. So then I must have it within me. And that awareness is seeing it and knowing that it's within. That's the first part. That's the awareness. Next is acceptance. And acceptance is an increased difficulty level. It's a second A. So it's harder to accept than be made aware. And to accept that sense of entitlement I see in people lives within me, I had to identify where it was, but only if I accept it can I find out where it is. I felt I was entitled to everyone else's attention. So I would just take over every conversation. I would move whatever we were discussing into whatever I wanted to talk about. That's a major sense of entitlement to people's concentration and time. I can only assume it was very draining for a lot of my friends too, especially being younger, taking over the conversation all the time. I mean, it's a long-standing joke with my family, how as soon as my eyes open, my mouth does too. I couldn't shut up. Like even as a kid, shutting up was not an ability I had. I had to speak. Now it's channeled. I put it here on YouTube for people who want to hear. I had to see my sense of entitlement in places because I was identifying it in people around me. And once I accepted it and found, oh wait, I feel entitled to people's attention, the entitled people around me stopped popping up. I stopped seeing them out in public. I stopped hanging out with certain entitled people because I identified with them and I accepted it. Then the third one, the hardest part, is action. Taking action to change the problem is the hardest part. But what we have to do is find it within ourselves in feeling. If you can feel in yourself once you've accepted that you don't want to embody that idea anymore, you don't want to embody that identity, you don't want to embody that version of you anymore, you take action to fix it. So it was hard for me, but I'd go out and shut up. And the motivation to do it came from the spiritual side. From what I had learned about in spirituality, be the observer. And the reward from being the observer was impeccable. It gave me a lot of control over my manifestations because I realized that as an actor, I'm ego. But as the observer and seeing what's been given to me, I'm now at a spiritual growing level because I'm seeing around me things that are within me. So because of that feeling that came with learning about the observer in spirituality, it helped me take action, the hardest part. And in taking action and the ability to do it, I got the reward of the value of being the observer. And that's why it leads first to emotional growth. So being the observer taught me a whole lot about the whole loop I was doing. And what that allowed me to do was go, okay, I can see the problems and I can change them because the reward of changing them is I get to feel a spiritual high. I get to feel happy. I get to feel joyful because I'm not trying to control everything with my sense of entitlement. That's just with the example of entitlement. But for you, it may be something else. Maybe it's rudeness. Maybe you're identifying it. So to become aware of it, accept where that rudeness exists and take action to change it. It can even be the way you feel about yourself. And that is probably more important. What are you doing to yourself? Are you being rude to yourself and overstepping your own boundaries for people? That rudeness will then be manifested because that's what's inside. You're not treating yourself the way you want others to treat you. And by now, I've said it in the last 5 videos, it's been a theme for the last while. It's not only about treating others the way you want to be treated, but treating yourself the way you want others to treat you. So a lot of these things you will identify that you dislike are not necessarily treating other people that way. It might be the way you treat yourself. But the reward for coming to this acceptance and taking action is the emotional, internal, heightened state of self. So that's something that's untaintable. That's not other people giving you a gift. That's you providing yourself with your own energy, something empowered. And when you do that, that emotional growth will then lead you to natural abundance. How does it do that? Well, because once you change within you, you align with the frequency of the things that you want. And how do we know which way to go? We follow that feeling. The feeling is always everything. Spiritually speaking, the emotional body, the emotional self, is what is reflected in the natural world. So when you get into that higher state of being the observer, accepting that you're not perfect, that things can be changed, This is the triple A of change, by the way: awareness, acceptance, and action. So once you start changing in that and you're open to that potential change, you can start getting out of that stuck area. You can start lifting into a new energetic space. And just like a radio on a car, when you change the frequency to a certain station, you will hear that station's music. So if your frequency is vibrating now at a higher state, you will then get the higher energy things come to you like a radio station. So this is the shift that you can make to absolutely enhance this experience you're having of your struggle being worse than others. Like, you have to go through harder things than other people do to get what you want. This is why you are of more value. The emotional understanding will be way more impactful to you than it could to them. So your struggle is worth more itself. To have gratitude for that will change everything too. If you say, why do I have to struggle more than other people to get what I want? And you understand that it's because you are of more value, that the reward is much higher, it makes it easier to take the 3 A's to change it. So what happens is that emotional growth happens. You start to be connected with the highest state of self. If you do an interview and you're sitting there like, I own this, someone's going to say, no, you're actually way too big-headed for this position. But as someone who became aware of entitlement, by changing that and by being the observer, I will see the opportunities better. I will respond better in those conversations. Because I'm not trying to lead it somewhere. I'm sitting accepting that I don't want to be entitled to people's time and concentration, because it's wrong. It's an infringement of control over somebody. You can see how somebody would feel better sitting next to the version of you that isn't entitled as opposed to the one that is. And that's how opportunities become more abundant as well. So maybe a new job opportunity, an interview. Maybe it's an opportunity to start an entrepreneurship adventure with someone. And because your energy is higher, you are a nicer person to be around, they are going to be more affectionate to the idea of doing something cool with you. So this is how it actually starts to create natural abundance. By changing your frequency, you change the behavior of people around you because they see you differently, and that's how you manifest. The manifestation actually starts at the very idea of someone being more happy about being in your space. That's already manifestation. Manifestation doesn't not happen. It's happening right now. And that's why you will have an entitled or negative person come into your space, because you're on that frequency, so they're drawn to you. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not a manifestation. You manifest what you are, not what you want. So if you change what you are to what you want, then you can bring about the things that you want. I hope this has landed with you. I hope that it's had an impact. When I found it out, it really changed a lot for me. Leave your thoughts in the comments or questions. If you have a specific thing you want to understand, I'll help explain it to the best of my ability in the comment section. I respond to every single comment, so leave your thoughts down there. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on so you don't miss another upload. See you in the next one and the comment section. Mad love and light.